Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of Coffee and Bonsai with Tom. Today we're going to talk about some of my plants that are in early bonsai development. Or as I like to call it, I'm going to take you on a trip to the Island of Dr Moreau. The Island of Dr Moreau is a story of a shipwrecked man. He kind of finds himself on an island with Dr Moreau, who does dubious experiments creating, sort of mixing humans and animals. Well, we certainly don't do anything like that in my bonsai workshop, so rest easy there. But, sometimes I do think of, am I some sort of mad scientist in this workshop? Um, kind of having human interference with nature and introducing some trauma sometimes in order to get to the greater good of wonderful bonsai creations. Well, you be the judge. I'm going to take you through a tour of many of the elements in my bonsai workshop in my chiller area, because spring is coming. And I want to get these guys cleaned up, give them a look over, make sure there aren't any bugs or other problems that I should really take care of before I put them outside, which I am very much looking forward to. And I'll tell you, all these plants will be very happy to get off the island and be put outside onto the wonderful beaches where they can bathe in the beautiful Seattle sunlight all summer. Wait a minute, did I just say beaches? I must have Hawaii on my mind or something. I meant to say benches, of course. I do not keep my bonsai on the beach, although it sounds like a fabulous idea. So first up here we have an experiment of using tiny jades, and I think that one in the middle is an aeonium, sitting on a chunk of lava rock that I've been carrying around from house to house for over 25 years. And I've moved all these into the workshop area because I want to do something with this piece of lava finally, and I wanted to see how small I can get these jades. Now this aeonium, not doing so well. I think it really wants to be outside. You can see it's almost black. Normally these are kind of green. So I may put this outside today, as a matter of fact. I think it'll enjoy our cool weather. And actually, this will probably go outside today too. And just a tiny Crassula ovata in this cute little pot. I'll put a link to the store. I get these on Etsy, and boy, they're just wonderful little pots. And you can see the jade's really super miniaturized when you constrain the roots like this. I can't quite make out the chop there, but like I said, I'll put a link to it. And then here's the aeonium. You can see it's quite dried out, although interestingly enough, it's growing some aerial roots there. I lost track of where this pot came from, but and then this final one is, I think, this beautiful purple pot. I can't remember where I got it, but look at that tight growth. I just kind of pruned this thing right back, and you can see it's got some stress red on it, and I don't know, just an impressive little jade. So these guys will be super happy to get outside, and I'm also going to do a video soon of making a pot out of my chunk of lava back there. And here's another jade that this is a bit more experimental. Still not doing too well. This one has really just been sitting around, but I'm confident it'll come back, and I'll have a nice little collection here of Mame jade. So moving on, next up I have a beautiful Portulacaria afra dwarf jade here. I did a video before. This is one of the ones I got in a large group of basically stumps that I bought. And I just potted it up in this pot. You can see the pot's broken. I honestly wasn't sure if this would even survive, so I just put it in whatever I had. And but it's coming along well. I mean, these things, they kind of got attacked by mealybugs, but it looks reasonably healthy. I think when I put it outside, it'll really take off. This time last year, this thing had no leaves on it at all, and I think it has a lot of potential. I mean, look at the trunk; it's just beautiful, and it has a nice flowing grace to it. And I've hardly done anything to it yet, so I'm super excited about this one. This is another one, came from that same group. Hasn't done so well. The mealybugs, they kind of snuck up on me. They kind of bided their time. I didn't really think anything was going on. Like any good general, they kind of waited for the moment when I wasn't looking, and then they hit hard. And by the time I found them out, they were breaching the gate. So I really had to hit them hard. So some of the trees, you can see a lot of the leaves have fallen off, and whatnot from the. I use isopropyl alcohol, and usually any leaves that have been damaged by them may kind of fall off. But this one obviously needs a bit more pruning, but I'm super excited about where it'll go because, look at the trunk. Like, you can't really go wrong with the trunk like this, and I'll prune it. Here's another one. Also got hit hard by the mealies. I definitely won the war. But you can see, it had more leaves in this, and it's just been hanging on in the chiller area of the workshop. But I think, again, I haven't really done anything other than just chopped it back so I could get under my shelves and under some of my lighting for the winter. And, I'm just checking it out here and kind of taking any loose stuff off and any spider webs and making sure there aren't any bugs on there. But again, I think this one has a tremendous amount of potential. It's really a nice looking specimen already, and I haven't really, it basically hasn't even filled in or been structurally pruned yet. So I'm super excited and have a lot of confidence this will turn out to be quite a nice tree. Here's yet another tree from my haul of rough material. You can see I basically just cut this back. It's got a lot of trunks, so I will be doing a video once this recovers and figure out what we're going to keep and what we're going to get rid of. Probably get some cuttings off of this one. These trees, unlike sort of your standard Portulacaria afra, the variegated really likes it warmer. It really does. I mean, it grows slowly and it gets nice, tight, compact growth, but it really wants more light and more heat to give you good performance. But I think this one has good bones, and with a bit of pruning, it'll be a fabulous tree someday. And I think we have another one coming up. This one is, I have a lot of hope for this one too. I think it already has kind of a nice style, even though it's quite rough. It's got two trunks there. I'll probably cut that straight back one off and create another tree for that. This one I've had on the heat mats recently as an experiment, being the Island of Dr Moreau, and it seems to be doing well. I mean, this thing it's definitely looking awake and like striving to grow compared to some of the previous ones I showed you. So I think the heat mats will play a part next year with my growth. Here is a forest. I basically just took a bunch of cuttings as I was pruning some of those previous trees I just showed you, and wasn't sure what to do with them, so I kind of just stuck them in potting soil for a good bit of time, and then fall came, and I thought, well, I'm just going to throw them into this pot and we'll see what happens. So I kind of just kind of haphazardly put them in here. There's been no pruning or refinement at all. You can see I have a bunch of rocks to kind of hold them in. But, they have roots, and I think they're doing quite well, and I'm looking forward to developing this into a nice forest this summer. I think this will work out really well. I think the pot's a little deep, but, it's fine for now. We'll take care of all that later. No comment on this one. This was one that does it even have? Yeah, it has a little bit of a leaf on the back. This is a stump. But sometimes out of great adversity comes extreme beauty. So I'm not giving up on this. I think it has some potential, assuming it lives. And I love the purple pot. So this next one I really like. It's a semi-cascade. Again, I've had this one on the heat mat, so I think it looks a little better. It's kind of waking up, but I love the simple pot. and how it just kind of hangs down there. And this thing, it was, I mean, had no roots at all. Like when it was shipped to me, it was just, it was kind of thrown in the box as an extra. And it's got a little loose stuff on it, but I think this one has some potential. I am really kind of liking this. And I also like the pot. It's just sort of a simple clay pot. Everything bleeds right through it. But I'm super excited. I really can't wait to see where this one goes this summer. I think I'll have a lot of success with it. Yeah, this next one is a true Dr. Moreau experiment. I had this tree that, I mean, it's actually looking pretty good. This is a huge cutting. I just kind of stuck it in soil and propped it up a bit. And, I had a tree that I just could not figure out what to do with it. And then finally, I decided to make some bold moves, and I took the top off, and here it is. And it's I'm super excited to see where it goes. This is my desert rose. I've got no idea what I'm doing with this thing. I think it's beautiful. I love the pot. It's like a Medusa head or something, right? It just kind of sprawls out. I've never gotten it to flower, and so I've been trying to give it away actually to somebody that has a greenhouse, because I feel like, I think it would look better tighter like that. I feel like if you don't get these to bloom, like, what's the point? So I continue to experiment with it, and we'll see what happens there. But so far, Here's another large port in the early stages. I mean, look at that trunk. This thing is beefy. I've done nothing to it. I just kind of chopped it back so I could manage it on my shelves. It's starting to wake up here. I mean, I've actually had this one outside as a canary in the coal mine to see, keeping out of the rain, of course, to see how it would do. And it seems very happy. So I think I'll start moving my others out, even though it gets down to like the mid 40s still. But I think this one has a lot of potential. I don't know exactly what I'm going to do with it, but we'll hit a future video. But look at that trunk. It's nice and beefy. And I'm really looking forward to doing something interesting with this. I think it has a lot of potential. It's probably a formal upright for sure. And this is what I did with the cuttings from that previous tree. And you can see it's got a bunch of loose leaves. I also have these on the heated root mat, and boy, they seemed quite happy about that. Had to up the watering. It's a pretty tight forest. I've basically done no real styling to it. I just kind of put the large cuttings in here, and they seem quite well rooted now. They're solid. I could probably take the rocks out. And so we'll get to that on a future video. And but I kind of like how tall and skinny these are. I think they'll make a real kind of an interesting straight up, kind of tall, narrow forest planting with Portucaria afra. So I'm looking forward to seeing, how that works. But this just goes to show you, if you buy a large plant, I mean, you just get so many cuttings and additional plants out of these dwarf jade. It's just really amazing. So you'll see more of this one. I'm looking forward to developing it further. I think it's already got kind of an interesting shape, given it's had no work on it at all, rather than shoving them in the pot. Here's a few more cuttings from that same tree. They had no leaves on them at all. You can see this big beefy one is really kind of coming alive. So I'll just keep growing it and get it to look more like a tree. Probably this would wind up in some sort of forest, because it's kind of big. It could form as the primary tree or serve as the primary tree. I think it'd do quite well as that. And here's a smaller one, looking good. Similar to the previous tree, these are just some cuttings that came off some of those variegated. Just shoved them in here. Didn't have the heart to throw them away. And, I think they'll turn into something. There's also a great plant giveaway in my neighborhood, which, if in the worst case, I'll pass them on to someone else that would that would greatly appreciate them. But, who knows? They may end up in a forest. It's always nice to have a few extra trees to stick in here and there. So it's nice to have those. Here's another one. Not really sure what I'm going to do with this. It's very sort of one-sided. This one's kind of a mess. It's got a lot of debris and stuff hanging off of it. So I'll probably just clean some of that off. Yeah, this one, I think it dried out. Probably maybe some of that could have been from the mealy attack. I'm not sure, but this one definitely needs some love and care and a little bit of pruning and a little bit of styling, and we'll see what we end up with. You can always cut it back real tight and start over. Here's one of my large jades. I want to do a video on this. I have a place where I buy these. I mean, the trunk on this thing is enormous. It was bushy all over, and I cut it back not that long ago, and it's now kind of slowly recovering. But look at the size of this trunk. So I want to let it grow out and get bushy again, because it actually was pretty attractive before I hacked it back. We'll see. Maybe I'll put it in a large forest, but I like that one. This is a jade. I've had this jade forever. It's got a nice fat trunk on it, but it's super tall and just overgrown. This is one of the ones that my wife used to take into her office and then bring back in the summer. But you can, it's got nice bark texture. So I may end up just cutting this back. I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to do with it, but it's too straight and uninteresting if I'm keeping it for my bonsai work for sure. This one's had a rough life. I'm not sure. I saved this from root rot, and sometimes adversity does make these look better. So we'll see. I haven't given up on it yet, but boy, it's kind of rough for sure. This is a tree I just don't like. I think these are ripple jade, and I don't know. I don't like how it grows. I don't like. I think this one is going to be voted off the island. I really just don't care for it. I haven't completely given up on it, but there it is. Yeah. And here's another one. I may restyle this one soon. It's got. I've been trying to grow it. To get it to come down as a cascade, and it just does not want to cooperate. So I will be looking at that soon. Well, we've come to the end of the tour of the Island of Dr. Moreau and the mad scientist, and I just want to leave you with this parting thought. Rough material, it's a great way to develop impressive bonsai. The key is to just be patient and consider the health of the tree. I mean, if it dies, the experiment's over. So you want to kind of think about the roots, and then the trunk, and then the branches, and then the ramification, but always keep it healthy. And as I said, these trees, I've gotten them through a winter, and they will be super happy to go outside. And then we will rinse and repeat. So I want to thank you for spending time with me, and I look forward to seeing you all again very, very soon.